Hey guys, tonight we begin with a gentle invitation. Find a cozy corner, turn down the lights just a little, and let's drift into a softly flowing exploration of one of humanity's strangest and most overlooked rituals, sleep. And not just your average sleep, no. We're diving deep into the bizarre, fascinating, often hilarious history of how Americans have, well, let's just say, approached their nightly rest over the centuries. Because, spoiler alert, it's not exactly been a straight line from candlelit dreams to cozy sleep-tracking gadgets. No, it's been more like a meandering river full of inbred royalty, industrial chaos, and quirky ideas emerging like wildflowers in a backyard orchard. So relax. We're about to float through the sleepy, sometimes bizarre, world of American sleep habits. The old days. Sleep as nature intended? Let's start in the very distant past. Sort of. Pre-industrial America, back when everyone was a bit more in tune with the natural rhythm of things. No 6 hours at a time modern routine. Instead, folks mostly slept in sync with the sun, like plants or wild animals. When the sun sank behind the horizon, humans sank with it, drifting into a dark, peaceful sleep, often called first sleep. And then, perhaps around midnight or so, they'd wake up. Some would get up, light a candle, do a little household chore, maybe pray or meditate, or just lie there thinking about the future while counting invisible sheep. Then, after an hour or two, they'd drift back into their second sleep. Yes, that's right. What's now considered a nightmare, interrupted sleep, used to be a normal part of life. It sounds romantic, right? Like a scene from a Victorian novel. But it's also practical. Sleep was dependent on the cycles of the sun. Wakefulness at night was not only common, it was normal, almost expected. Interestingly, this bi-sleep pattern wasn't limited to America. European travelers, explorers, and even ancient texts have documented this broken two-part sleep time as a shared human rhythm. People didn't see it as a problem, they saw it as part of a natural, peaceful cycle. But then the Industrial Revolution showed up, like an overly eager guest crashing the party, and everything changed. How the lights of industry killed the bi-sleep. Things started to shift in the 18th and 19th centuries as factories roared to life and cities grew brighter with gas lamps, lanterns, and eventually electric lights. Oh, the magic of electricity. It's kind of funny. We now consider light pollution a modern nuisance, but back then it was revolutionary. Suddenly, the night was no longer a natural dark blanket, but a canvas for production, nightlife, and, of course, more sleep disruption. Thomas Edison's invention of the electric light bulb in 1879 didn't just change where we read or watched movies. It reprogrammed our brains. No longer did we have to follow the sun's natural schedule. Now people could stay awake well past sunset, working overtime or partying late into the night. But here's the twist. Humans aren't really built for that. Our biology still craves the dark. The pineal gland, that tiny sleepy time sensor deep in our brains, started to get confused. It wasn't just about enjoying the glow of a cozy fire anymore. It was about this harsh, artificial light that told our bodies, hey, keep going, there's more to do. In cities like New York and Chicago, you start seeing signs of a sleep revolution, except it's more of a sleep resistance. Sleep became something to squeeze into a tight break between work shifts, rather than that natural two-part cycle. And people's sleep patterns became, well, let's just say less natural. Enter the night owls and early risers, a cultural shuffle. In the early 20th century, the U.S. was moving toward a more regimented, clock-driven society. Factories aimed for maximum efficiency, and school hours and work shifts became standardized, more or less. Sleep, once flexible and rooted in natural cycles, was now pigeonholed into a single, solid block of approximately 7 to 8 hours. Of course, some folks tried to fight it. Enter the sleep researchers and sleep scientists, people like William Dement, who later became known as the grandfather of sleep medicine. They proclaimed that bad sleep was caused by modern lifestyles, TV, caffeine, you name it. But deep down, everyone kind of knew that in the rush to industrialize and modernize, sleep was becoming a victim. So while people signed up for the standard 9-to-5 schedule, plenty of others clung to their old habits. Napping sessions were sometimes looked at with suspicion, like a sign of laziness or embarrassing honesty. But in some parts of the country, especially rural areas, a midday nap still held strong, especially during harvest seasons or in the humid South. Yet even then, there was an undercurrent that sleep wasn't quite right. The rise of insomnia and nervous breakdowns started to emerge as common complaints, especially among city dwellers chained to their alarm clocks and streetlights. Now things get a little weird. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, some doctors and charlatans saw sleep as a disorder to be cured. They invented all sorts of sleep treatments, from hypnotic pills to bizarre tonics, attempting to force people into better sleep. But perhaps the strangest trend was the rise of the sleep cure, a fad that promised to reset your sleep patterns using strange methods, sometimes involving total sleep deprivation or extensive naps. Of course, none of this really worked, but it fueled a growing obsession with perfect sleep, as if the body was some kind of machine that just needed the right settings. And it's here that we start to see the seeds of today's sleep obsession. Sleep trackers, fancy mattresses, apps that tell you how deep you're snoozing. Because why not make sleep a new frontier of self-improvement? But for now, just breathe in, breathe out. Let the gentle flow of this sleepy tale wash over you. And remember, the secret to better sleep might just be understanding that for most of human history, nobody really knew how to sleep perfectly. They just did it, quietly, naturally, like the long, slow, inevitable tide.